I'm Tom Baker, this is Chasing Cars, and I'm at the world premiere of the new BMW X2 and the iX2. I've got the two cars behind me, and I'm going to take you on a tour today of these new small coupe SUVs from BMW. This is the second generation X2, and there's a number of important changes to get our heads around. Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by Budget Direct. So this is the new iX2 in fire red, and lined up next to it is the new X2. So just like the BMW X1 and iX1, BMW is using its power of choice product planning philosophy on this vehicle. So you can either choose fully electric power, or if you don't want that, you can have a full petrol engine X2. What BMW is not doing is a plug-in hybrid. They say that this is one of their most progressive models, and they only want to use progressive powertrains. So you can either have turbo petrol power here. This one is an M35i. I'll come back to what that means in just a moment. And over here in the iX2, it's fully electric. Now, there will be a range of X2 and iX2 models globally, and that includes Australia, where we've got quite a significant selection of grades on the way. We've got petrol, including the M35i, and then we've got two electric variants. So there will be a dual motor version, which is what this car is here, with 230 kilowatts of power. And that uses a battery which is just under 65 kilowatt hours of usable space. But there'll also be a single motor front wheel drive version arriving a few months later in mid-2024, which has the same battery but longer range because it has less power and greater efficiency. In terms of aesthetics, I think coupe SUVs aren't for everybody, but this is quite a significant departure from the more hatchback-like first generation X2. What do you think of the design of the new X2 and iX2? Let me know in the comments. For my part, I actually don't mind the appearance of this car. I think the X1 and the iX1 is a really handsome small SUV. The main difference with the X2 is, of course, this roof line. So you get this long slope all the way from the B pillar to this new spoiler arrangement on the M35i. The tail lights too are very, very distinct from the X1. We've got a pretty aggressive looking rear end treatment, including this diffuser, faux diffuser, and the exhaust pipes. As you can see, one of them's real. Got another real one over there, so it's actually a twin exhaust in quad pipes. So it looks cool, maybe not quite as legit once you go looking. The mirrors on the M35i, they are the M mirror design. Got these huge wheels. This color is frozen Portimao blue. The iX2 is finished in the fire red. I think they're a pretty cool pair of cars, so let's check out the interior. I'll show you the interior of the iX2 xDrive 30 first. It's a little bit lighter and brighter, which always makes things easier to see. So we've got the two-tone interior here, which is actually an exclusive to the X2. You can't get this in the X1. This is the Atlas White and Smoke Grey, I think it's called, in the Veganza. So this is BMW's new non-animal skin interior that still does mimic leather. Up here on the steering wheel, we've got the new design BMW wheel, which has this really cool metal design down here, and still physical buttons and spokes on the steering wheel. No paddle on the right hand side, just the pull to pass boost paddle. You can see that large floating display there in the center. This is coming out on a number of BMW cars, but there's one big thing missing. This all feels pretty similar sitting behind the wheel of a modern BMW, but as I say, there's something missing, and it's right down here. We have no iDrive rotary dial controller, much like the X1 and also the 2 Series Active Tourer that we don't get in Australia. So that means that your infotainment is all controlled via a touchscreen, which, you know, it definitely works. It's just on the move when the road's moving around, this is a little bit less easy, and having that rotary controller that doesn't move is better. And I think that's why BMW isn't getting rid of it on a bunch of cars. You know, it's on the new i5 and other new BMWs. So it's just these cheaper entry-level models that are missing out. One thing I think BMW is doing pretty well on these entry-level SUVs is making them feel like BMWs. So the build quality is generally pretty good. The material quality feels definitely up to scratch inside. And even though you can't get real leather anymore in this vehicle, the seats, you know, they do feel high quality, but again, there might be one missing link, And that missing link is that you actually don't get seat cooling in this car. So you wouldn't, oh, I've got to go over here. You wouldn't normally expect seat cooling, but you don't get it. So if we click on this seat icon here, we can turn on the heated seats, we can turn on the heated steering wheel with 3 levels of heat, which is not something we see too often, but no seat cooling. The issue is that even this Veganza, you know, it's not real leather. It is perforated, which is good, but it's not going to breathe super well in summer, I don't think. We'll have to wait and see. This car has a lighter interior, which is definitely a good start. If you go for the black without seat cooling and without a textile seat, it could get a bit hot. So I would have preferred to see seat coolers. That being said, nice high quality materials are on a surprising amount of the surfaces in this car. If you go digging around beneath the belt line, of course, you find where BMW achieved the price of this vehicle, which is in the 80 grand range for the iX2. So it's not cheap, but compared to an X3, it definitely slots in underneath that car. Let's check out the back seat. So a little bit dark in the back here, apologies for that, but look, I'll sit up straight and you can see there's actually clearance above my head. So as far as small coupe SUVs go, this one is really good. And a reminder, we're sitting in the electric version, so we would normally have a problem with a stacked battery making the leg comfort pretty bad. That's not actually the case here. I've got headroom and I'm just comfortable on this rear bench. So this is much better than a Volvo C40 for backseat passengers. Just another angle. Here's my legs. They are actually supported on this seat base. I've got tow room. So as back seats go in coupe SUVs, this is actually fantastically well done. Moving around to the boot now. You'll have to forgive me for all of this happening on the screen here. We're at a motor show. Motor shows allowed. Now, oh, look at that. It's one of these ones. So the tailgate, the opening actually is relatively high, so you will have to hoik your suitcases in here. But boot space, definitely not too bad. We've got some storage over here. We've got some netted storage here, sturdy cargo cover. Underneath the boot floor, more storage. No spare wheel, that's pretty common for EVs, but in terms of practicality, this one ain't bad. Then up here, power tailgate, one push, no beeping, and the door comes right down. By contrast, this is the interior of the X2 M35i. So we've got the Veganza and the, I can't remember what this is called, but it's basically an ultra suede like material. That's on the seats, it's also on the dash. Blue stitching too, so this is like a dark theme interior. You do get these light up M badges in the seats, and also one detail which is really quite nice is the M stitching on the steering wheel. But it is dark in here. That said, I like a textile, so this is another option. So the launch of the X2 and the iX2 will be staggered in Australia. This one, which is the dual motor iX2, will be landing in the first quarter of 2024, so within the next few months. I'll give you the details on screen for the petrol version of the car over here now, but potentially the most interesting one, the front wheel drive iX2, which has the longest range of the EVs and is also cheaper. That's not coming until the middle of next year, so there's a bit of a wait for that. So that's a first look at the BMW X2 and iX2. What do you think of this new small coupe SUV? Would you have one over an X1? Would you have one over a Volvo C40? Let me know down below in the comments. We'll be driving this car in the coming months, so make sure to subscribe to catch that one. Hit the notification bell if this was useful. Feel free to share with a friend. And as always, thanks for watching Chasing Cars.